comprised of a lot of different facets, a lot of elements, a lot of components, a lot of parts, pieces. And you want to make sure that you haven't missed any areas. Okay? It's about your belief systems being good, about having pure fruits in your heart, having a pure heart, not having rotten ones. You know, when the chips are down, when you're really examined upon the Almighty Creator at your judgment day, you want to make sure that, you know, you're going to be able to stand, and you're going to be able to justify logically, you know, what's in your heart and mind. Okay? Because he's not going to buy a lot of psychobabble. Not from me, not from you, not from anybody else. Okay? So this business of sound currency, as you can see, it's a very serious business. And it does get spiritual in the sense that it's about relationship, right relationship with the Creator. We're all in this thing together. We're all brothers and sisters. And we cannot divorce ourselves from the welfare of any of our other brothers and sisters, the least of men, like Jesus talked about. Whatsoever you do or fail to do for the least of these, you do or fail to do for me. Okay? It's like divorcing yourself from yourself. It's like trying to divorce yourself from the universe, from the laws of the universe. You can't do it. Or divorcing yourself from your conscience. You can't do it. You sure won't find happiness. It's like mathematics. Okay? It's just the way it is. It's like karmic laws, instinct. Okay? Call it what you will, but it's a real force and it's invisible. But look at the placebo effect. You know? Science, they're bewildered, right? They can't, well, I don't know. I mean, how do atheists explain it? You know, how do atheists explain instinct? But these things are real and they're invisible. But invisible things can be quite real. Without the air I'm breathing, how long would I live? Not very long. So we've all got to understand what it's going to take. It's going to take sound currency. And sound currency can only be achieved when you've got checks and balances. That's it. You've got to have some form of checks and balances. So back to minimum wage. Minimum wage is a finite commodity. There's only so many workers out there. Okay? So in a sense, it's very similar to precious metals, which are purported to be so valuable because they're of a finite nature. There's only so much silver, so much gold on earth. You understand? But labor, I believe, is a much better form of checks and balances. Okay? And it's not like you have to worry about labor ever getting, you know, this huge upper hand where they just start oppressing everybody that couldn't work, because there's people that can't. The elderly, the handicapped, a lot of people cannot work, or they can't do at least laborious work. So that's up to the fit of body to do those jobs. But go buy a Habitat for Humanity build and see people falling over themselves to work for free. People will work for free. They do it from the goodness of their heart. So the whole idea that it can't work is ridiculous. It would work very well. We could have a 100% voluntary-based reality. And I believe we'd be much more productive and be enjoying our lives a lot more. It's the only way we're going to have full liberty, is to have full prosperity when all the ships have risen. It's the only way. It's the only way. Okay? So when we're talking about sound currency, and we're talking about inflation, and we're talking about labor, some people will argue, well, labor increase costs will cause inflation. Okay, folks, this is not a question of what came first, the chicken or the egg. We could argue all day long about that. Have a lot of fun doing it, but nobody would really ever be able to walk away saying, I won the debate. You couldn't. Okay, but this is not a question of what came first, the chicken or the egg. It's the cost of living. So the wages are pegged directly to the cost of living. And in economics, they calculate the cost of living based on what's referred to as a market basket of goods. It's those things that you can't escape the price of. Food, clean, drinkable water, shelter, okay, and increasingly energy costs, okay? So primarily those things have to be calculated very accurately, very precisely, and it can be done very easily. I could do it. And it's a two-way street. Hey, if the cost of living goes down, wages go down. It doesn't really matter. The point is that you would maintain sound currency through these strict set of checks and balances. The market baskets of good, the basket of goods, the cost of living adjustment. Everybody's heard that term. It's reasonable, it's logical, and it's justifiable. Okay, and it's inexcusable not to do it. Okay, so somehow the scary part is that we have to hit some kind of a wall. We have to hit that turning point, the point where the disparity grows and the ship capsizes. Okay, so something's going to happen. Something dramatic has got to happen because humanity knows it's coming down to survival. And in order for us to survive, we're going to have to fight like hell. Just, fight the fight. I'm not saying violence. I'm saying fight like hell. Just, hey, I demand to survive. I demand work. I demand to eat. I demand housing. I demand drinkable water. I demand, whatever it needs to, if you need, to heat your home, to survive, why the hell not, And, I could get into the fact that, solving the problems is basically, folks, you got to understand, it's a conflict of interest. And this is what we're up against. It's very scary. Right down the line, you could look at this. Look at the energy thing, all the dirty energy, the pollution. Okay, we could have clean energy. We could have had it decades ago, I'm convinced. Okay, but it's not in the interest of the people that are selling dirty fuel. Do you understand? All this technology is better. It's all shelved, okay? So this is all BS about they got to save the earth. The idea that the earth is overpopulated, that's just so these people can save for themselves. They don't like the commoners using up all their stuff. Okay, you got to understand what's going on here. You could look at the problems in the medical industry. Okay, diseases are job security for people in the medical. And this is so sad. We've all prescribed and bought into the system. We've been inculcated, brainwashed, indoctrinated. It's just imbued through the society, in our colleges, in our schools. We're taught this stuff from cradle to grave. If our parents are ignorant, if they don't know, they're just going along just saying, look, it's called pragmatic. That's what they're being. It's common sense. You go along with the system, right? This is what we do. So we've all bought into this. Every occupation almost down to the line. It's ridiculous. You think that these top bankers want this debt that we owe paid off? Okay, I don't think so. How do they make their money? They want us in debt in perpetuity. They want it signed, sealed, delivered. They want it engraved in stone. That forevermore they're going to have this giant group of workers that are just hungry to do whatever they say in whatever conditions that they dictate that we so basically they want to take away everything. They would like us just to go away. You understand? This is the whole idea, to genocide. They put on a smiley face and they say we just got to kill them for the good of the earth. We're trying to save the earth. We're altruistic, right? Like that song by Devo, I forget the name of it, but they make mention of these psychos in one of their songs. And you know what? These are some bad people, okay? These are some bad apples. And these are the ones that are going to be banished to hell. Hell, they're prepared for it. They know what's coming down. These people know the scriptures, and they know their end is coming very quickly. So they're getting very desperate. So, we are in danger, but I think trusting in God is the best thing we can do. To understand that God is powerful. Just like Daniel in the lion's den, Daniel in the fiery furnace. God has the ability to save the righteous. He really does. Just like Jesus said, he could have saved himself from the crucifixion if he didn't care so much about fulfilling the Father's will for humanity. He could have had 12 legions of angels by his side, he said. Boom, just like that, instantaneously. The point is that God can save us from the pain, too much pain that, is beyond what we can handle. That is for the righteous, for those that are devoted to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And conversely, for the wicked, just like in the story of Ananias and Sapphira, when God cut them down dead, he dropped them, so God can kill those. So you gotta realize that, that the wicked must have some hope to repent, or else God would probably drop them at any time. And when the time is right, he's just going to banish them. That is the destruction of the wicked, is to banish them. It's like turning a light on in a dark room. You could say you banished the light. right? Or you could say you destroyed it. Either way, it's gone. It's not there anymore, and that time is coming. So that's something very positive on the horizon. But we've got to get through this period. We've got to understand what we're trying to do here. We're trying to survive. Sound currency comes down to survival, and it's the only way to gradually go the other direction, as opposed to disparity, a rotting tide that's sunken all these ships while levitating others. It's going the other way to balance things out, which means eventual prosperity for everybody, total security, out of fear, okay? No conflict of interest when, one man's security as it is now is another man's insecurity, which is fear. One man's way out of fear now by having an advantage in the form of money, okay, is no longer that. And as it, convert is another man's disadvantage, another man's fear. It's not going to be like that anymore. It'll be prosperity for everybody, and that's the only way you're going to have liberty, okay? That's the only way you're ever going to have freedom. It cannot be for some. It's got to be for everybody. If it's just for some, you will never find true happiness. And this, to me, this eternal quest to evolve to a heaven, it has to incorporate an understanding of these principles that I know as a matter of fact what it's going to take to make me happy. And it involves your welfare and her welfare and his welfare, all of our welfare. Okay, it involves a pure, clean tide of righteousness and justice and mercy and goodness and light and truth and joy and peace and honor and dignity for everybody there, okay? And remember this, that a place like that would be hell to the people that are ruling this earth right now. It would be hell if they were forced to live like that. These are haters of God. These are haters of humanity. These are haters of all that is good. And God represents every good quality, characteristic, and attribute. And we have the same opportunity as human beings, little gods, children of God, to seize upon those things and to be God-like and to get to inherit a better world because we were found worthy. Okay? It's written that the righteousness of men is as filthy rags to the Lord, and that's good to understand that. Okay, but understand this: to consider yourself a righteous person, you're not saying that you're a sinless person. We can't help but sin. It's as basic as this. If you can understand the definition of the word, you're off track, because no other creature really understands this. This is unique to human beings. We're the ones that caused all the problems on this planet. We're the ones that brought death into this world for all the creatures. Okay? A God that suspended the planets in our solar system and in the universe, in the galaxy, in the entire universe, suspended these galaxies. Okay? Do you think it's beyond his potential, his capacity to say the earth is populated to my satisfaction in terms of animals and human beings, and now I'm pulling the fertility? Okay, that's it. It's as simple as that, because now they live forever, okay, in a paradise. And this is what he wants to do here on earth. He's going to cleanse it like a diseased, cancerous cell. It's what's coming. It's going to happen, folks. And good is coming to everybody. And, I just want you to understand that God is not in any way impotent or incapable of doing anything. Okay? And if you can imagine it, it's possible. And there's going to be no end to what we can imagine. We are eternal creatures. Even the wicked are going to live forever. They're probably, God, thinking what the ideal thing to do with these wicked people is to put them in this dark, painful place, ruled by God knows who. Could you imagine these people trying to rule each other? They're going to be so miserable no matter where they are. They've bought their own ticket to hell, and they're trying to drag us in with them. They're trying to get us to keep buying this lie, keep feeding the bloodthirsty monster and buying a ticket to hell, essentially by being a collaborator, a colluder, by consent, by going along to get along. You don't want to do that, folks. When the chips are down and you know you've got a course to follow. Follow the right one. Go on the side of truth and light and what is right. Because right has a definition and wrong has a definition. Evil is wrong. Holiness is right. That's for everybody. Goodness is the right thing to do.